Hey gang, welcome back out to the channel. We are continuing on tonight with our 1904 VW build that we're building for our as a motor for another sand rail that I have. That'll be the eventual home of this thing, but for now it's going to go on the Smurfmobile that we're taking to No Name Nationals. I've already got this side of the engine buttoned down with our heads that we just ported. And she's ready to go. So tonight we're going to be working on this side, finishing up anyways, and that will complete our top end rebuild. Depends on how much time I have tonight, but I may go ahead and get the rocker shafts on. If not, we can get that tomorrow, no big deal. But this is where it starts getting fast and enjoyable. I'm telling you, those ported heads that we did, I don't know if you saw that video, we got these dudes ported pretty well and looking nice and cleaned up, and that was somewhat of a boat anchor to this project. I hated to do that. I wished I could have done it before I even had machine work done, but alas, it didn't happen. So with that being said, these engines go together fast. As long as you know what you're doing and you prep right. And so we're back at that stage. Things are going to be done probably this week. If I had, I mean, it's got to be. There's no reason it shouldn't. Because once I get these heads or get this all buttoned down, really, it's, you know, we're just taking some of the stuff that we've got on this this holder engine and sticking it on there. That's about the most of it, so it's going to go pretty fast. So anyways, I'm not gonna go step by step on this. I'll just give you a few little cliff note clips, and that way you can kind of see what we're doing. All right, guys, let's get to it. In my opinion, I find it critical to label your pistons and your cylinders. In this case, 3. And then the direction of the flywheel, because these they actually have an arrow on there that's supposed to be facing that direction, and it helps to get all that right when you're getting everything set up, and that way you know, you're not making any mistakes. Let me just say to you real quick, not everybody does this, but I find it to be helpful. I didn't film this whole process, but essentially I took some lapping compound, and you can probably see just the slightest little gray ring inside there. Took lapping compound, put it on the surface of this cylinder, and did that little number and got her clean. And we do that. It would probably seal fine without it, but that just helps it seal. And kind of I'm going to show you something here in a little bit when it comes to putting the head on that my machinist that did the case and the heads, opening them up for me, a tip he gave, and I've never done it before, but I'm going to do it because I trust this guy. He's been doing it since 1967 and used to put together 2 motors a day at their shop. So I think the fella knows what he's talking about, so I'll tell you that here in a second. But anyways, I'm ready to go ahead and start dressing the cylinder and the ring spacer that we're putting in there. Like I said, with a 74mm crank, it pushes everything out, and we have to shim it to get our deck height, which I got down to 45 thousandths, which is I like. And yeah, so let me get that RTV put on there, and we'll get ready to put this on. I've already put this piston on. Now some guys, they'll go ahead and do it. I've done it both ways, and I like both ways. Sometimes they'll just leave the piston inside that cylinder and then put it on, but I've kind of gotten used to doing it this way, so I'm gonna do it. I actually made a little ring compressor. You have to be able to, if you do it this way, you got to be able to get on it with your pliers and then be able to pull it off. So I made that out of a not a band clamp, banding material for pallets. Free Awesome. Piece of scrap. Alright. I'm going to dress that and I'll pick back up and we slide her on. There's certainly more than one way to do this, like I just said, but so I basically dressed both sides below the ring and above it with some RTV, and I have got it ready to rock and roll. Make sure I got her in the right spot. Take out my ring compressor. Made sure my rings are at the 2 o'clock and the 10 o'clock positions so that we get adequate oiling. You know, like I said, I don't really have a preference which method I do. To be quite honest with you, there's not really a nickel's worth of difference between the two. This one could probably be a little bit more aggravating, but I've come to enjoy it. I just kind of get this sort of semi-clamped. Then I take my pliers and situate it like so, making sure everything is, let's get it down a bit further here. That's the only thing you got to do is make sure you don't, that you got everything on there. You got to work it back and forth occasionally. There we go. That'll be plenty adequate right there. So, just some light pressure on it. Then I get my piston. Make sure I get in the right orientation. Or my cylinder, that's what I mean. I got it onto here first. It would have been, I'll tell you what, I kind of feel guilty being out here right now and doing this, because I was going to try to get my son involved and me and him do this together. And I mean, there'll be other parts of this project that we can do, but I want him to get his feet wet a little bit in this at some point. I'll tell you what, you just got to work around and get her to go, and there we go. Once I get her guided in there, just with light pressure, we should be able to get that on there. Yep, there we go. I want to make sure we get this baby out. Uh-oh. You know what I forgot to do? No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I got to thinking. I almost said that I forgot this, one of these little clips, but I don't know what I was thinking. It's in there. Otherwise, I had an extra one. Anyways, it's good to think about that kind of stuff, though. You don't want to be, you don't want to get too far in there and realize, oh, I forgot that major important part of the piece. Anyways, you can get it out there this way. Alright, let's drive her on home. Try keeping it as clean as possible on our way down. There we go. Alright, that's there. And of course, to do that, this has got to be sort of a top dead center sort of situation. So now I'll dress up cylinder number 4 and do the exact same thing. Alrighty. This is the step that when I had my little brain fart there a second ago, was afraid that I didn't do. Put that little baby in there. Sometimes these can be a little booger to get in the right spot, because it's got a little groove in there that isn't always so obvious that you have it. But that one actually went pretty good. Oh, no. Now it did. It's one of those things you gotta walk it around, make sure she's good. Yep. Alright. Before I forget, I will get these these rings with the gap in the correct location, which is 10 and 2. Some will do a little differently, but classically that is where I've always done it. There we go. Close enough. That'll work. Alright, I'm going to dress that cylinder. Number 4 is ready to go. RTV'd in both spots. Let's try this again. Okay, get that where I want it. We are arranged there. Let's get our homemade cylinder ring compressor in its spot. Nope. Tell you what, this stuff's tedious. But I'll tell you what, I'm having a good time. This has become a fun, relaxing thing to me. You know, and it's, I know I'm kind of getting into the hurry mode because, well, let's face it, I need to have this done. That way I can move on to getting her started up and making sure we're tuned okay, which I hope will not be too big of an exercise. But you know, there's always, every engine has its quirks, and this one I'm sure will be just like any other one. I'm going to switch my hand since I'm a righty. Sometimes these things, these studs, case studs, sometimes they can actually be a little bit pesky. Okay, we're sliding on there. Yep, we're good. Let's get that off before we get in a tight spot. Voila. And get her the rest of the way on and down. Okay. There we go. Nice and tight. Alright, I'm going to work quickly because I want to get this buttoned down as fast as I can before this RTV starts to cure a little bit. And I'm actually going to wipe down the face of this one more time because of that little hack that my machinist gave me. So I just want it to be clean. We'll do the other one too. Looks like it's fairly clean. But when you put extra oil and stuff in there, it's bound to get all gooped up. Alright, let me clean off the RTV from this. Some of that thin stuff's already beginning to take shape. Okay. Very important. I'm a man who prefers these type of lower cooling tins. They do make one that go in here, and I've used those, but I have began to have a liking for these. I've got them on my other buggy, and they seem to do a good job cooling. It's really a Type Volkswagen Type 3 setup, but you know, you can make it work on Type 1 also. Okay, it's in there, but not down here. Let me get a little piece of wood. They don't damn anything. But these things have to go in before the our little push rod tubes. Okay. I'll finagle that just a little bit. Uh-oh. There, now we're going. Now we're cooking. I have put some wire bails around there before when they don't fit good, but this one is fitting pretty good, I say. I don't think I'm gonna have to on this one, so I'm gonna do that. And I have already pre-put these babies on the rubber gaskets. And some people like to put oil or grease on them. I put just a tiny bit. These are a little bit different push rod tubes because they got a little longer end. I think it has to do with the windage, whatever you want to call that. Always place them seam up. So that's exactly what we're going to do. All right. You want to do that, there's a reason for that. It's because whenever, if you were to have a split in the tube, you'd be a lot less likely to leak oil like crazy with that versus having it the other way. Alright, I think other than I want to wipe the top of that piston down. When you do this kind of stuff, it's so easy to get junk and dust and that sort of stuff, and I know it ain't gonna kill that, but I don't like it in there. So if I can keep it from getting in there, I will. There we go. Alright, we are ready to put this bad boy on, unless I'm missing something, which I don't think I am. So sometimes these studs are stubborn and they can be slightly off, just ever so slightly, and that is the case with this one, and that's why I had a little harder time putting in number 4, because it's just slightly off. Okay, I'll guide that baby in. Let's get this side. Check our alignment on these. We don't want to pinch them off. Okay. They seem to be going in there just fine thus far. And this is where it can get a little hairy, especially if you pre-stretch your tubes, which I did, by the way, and it actually basically acted as a springboard against what you're doing, and that's what happens here. And so what I like to do in that case, which oh doggone it, I forgot something. I forgot the little trick I was going to show you. Come with me, we'll do it. So my machinist that opened up these heads for me, whenever I was picking them up, we were talking through kind of the process of you know, a few builds and stuff, and he asked me a few questions. Hey, do you do this? Do you do that? And most times, oh yeah, I do that. I know that. He said, do you sell the heads with anything? And I'm like, well, no, I never have. And most people don't, and which is exactly why I began putting that on without thinking anything about it. But he said, he gave me this right here, and he said, silver paint. He said, for whatever reason, we've always found that silver paint, it helps seal that up even more than what you did. And I thought, really? Okay, I trust this guy. He used to put in, at a shop, they put together 2 Volkswagen engines a day back in the 70s when everybody had them on the road. So I did this other head with this paint. And as I was doing it, I think I kind of understand why. I lapped in the cylinder, right? And as I can look in here, what I think is going on, you know, you got these little microscopic grooves that the lapping compound basically puts in there. Well, I think this sinks in there with that because silver has metallic in it to begin with, and so I suspect that the effect it's having is helping to further seal that. And I don't know, I'm gonna trust the guy. He did quite a bit, and you know, it's always okay to try new things. So this is I've actually tried several new things on this build that I've never done, and why stop there? Just keep going. It can't hurt. I mean, the seal's a mechanical seal anyway, so I mean, it ain't hurting me. So anyways, I'd be curious if any of you seasoned Volkswagen veterans are watching this and have done that or heard of it. Leave a comment below. Tell me your thoughts. I think either way, whether it does something or not, it ain't gonna hurt a thing. So, all right, let's continue on. Get this head on. All right, let's do this whole exercise again. Now that we got our paint done, our seal work. Okay. And it was a pain getting it on here the first time. The other head was not that hard. But, you know, not everything in life is easy, is it? Okay. Guide these corner studs in without getting paint on me. Okay. See, that wasn't too bad. It was just a little detour. No big deal. Okay. All that's looking good. Looking good. Alright, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to, just to drive this thing down a little bit further to where I can put washers and bolts on, I'm just going to drive this center one down just enough to take some slack out of the springage there. Yeah, and these guys. That's the springboard that's sort of keeping it like that. Alright. There. I ought to be able to adequately butter up my bolts and washers here. And it'll continue to seat and seal as it goes down. This is a messy process, but it is a necessary one. So what I do is I butter up this washer down in these areas where there's oil. Then I come in, whether it's needed or not, I put some on the nut. Just extra protection. Nothing crazy. Anything will help. Put a little bit of blue Loctite on it. Just a dab. Just a dab will do. Okay. Let's run that down with our 17mm socket. And that will begin to really kind of pinch everything together. And we'll end up torquing that here in a second. Alright, I'm going to save some time. Go ahead and do that to the rest of these, and then we'll get to torquing it. Alright, this last part is the torquing sequence. And you know what? I have to go back and look. I think one of the best references for this is an old Apple Tree Automotive parts book. And it's got lots of fantastic little reference stuff in the back, and it's got a good, all that's right there, all those torque specs and all that is right there at your fingertips. Alright, so some of you may find this odd, but you got to go through a round and do it to 7 foot-pounds the first go round, and the second followed up with about 23. I don't trust this one on the low, because the lower it is, the less it clicks. So I'd use that for the second round, and I use Old Faithful here to do the first. And I actually like using these. The old timers used to use them, and I think I can too. Okay, and 3/4 does just fine. All right. I trust the calibration of this for the most part. I've tested it against this one, and it seems to be about right. Alright, we'll do 5/6. Okay. No biggie there. And what is that? 7/8. Tell you what, I enjoy this. I have a TV in here, so as long as I ain't stopping hot, which actually it's not super hot, but it ain't chilly either. I'm actually sweating. Kind of enjoy doing this out here. It's very relaxing, but unfortunately I have to usually wait until everybody goes to bed before I can start doing this stuff. Weekend's coming up though, and I basically have kind of given myself, nope, that's not right, this one. Yeah, this thing won't click to save its life, so I have to be real easy. There we go. I need to get another one, I guess. But there. There we go. All right, 7 and 8. This part's boring, I'm sorry. Alright, I'm going to go back and check them all, and we'll finish her up. Well, there you have it, guys. she's all together and done. Rotates great. I'm happy that's taken care of. Long block is done. It's getting a little late, so I'm going to go ahead and just clean up my mess, get the wife's car back in here. And tomorrow I'm going to go ahead and probably put my rockers on. I've got a couple of those assembled. Check valve geometry, all that lovely stuff. And I don't know, I may put my oil cooler on before I go to bed. We'll see. But that's where we're going to end it today. I just thought I'd bring you along for the ride. I didn't really do any teaching or tutorial work, but we're getting there. It's going to go very fast now. We'll have this puppy thinking starting up next week. Anyways, till next video. We'll see you guys.